we are going to look at this text and we are going to see how author used language like words, language technique and sentence form to convey the message and to give some kind of effects to the reader. First thing, I want you to pause the video and read the text. Once you finish reading the text, I want you to write about what is the text about. Then write how do you know. Give evidence for your understanding using writer's choice of words, writer's choice of language technique and sentence forms. Once you wrote it down, again you continue to the video. I will explain, then you can compare your notes with my notes. English is mainly whenever you read each one's perception. That means each one can understand different way and interpret different ways. That is, specifically you can't tell this is right, this is wrong. But general understanding is the same, but how you write would be different. Okay. Now I'm going to explain this text. The landscape was dull steel. The sea was grey, the sky was grey, and the mountains in the distance were grey. So the author opened the paragraph with a negative. How I know? Using the word dull steel tells it's a negative way. The whatever the text is about is not positive, it is negative. This emotion or this feeling is reinforced when author used the sea was grey, the sky was grey, the mountains in the distance were grey, and we were grey too. Grey is generally associated with miserable, depression, sorrow, those kind of things. So again he used a negative word to convey the feeling. So he set the scene with some kind of dull, miserable, depressed kind of setting. And this is say we were grey too. It's kind of telling directly we are not happy. Our meager rations of bread, when they say meager ration meager means very little or small. Yeah. Meager rations of bread tells they had only a very little food. Nameless slop telling, nameless means some kind of watery thing. Slop is telling carelessly they just poured. Had left us sallow-faced. The sallow-faced is telling they are kind of, their face is kind of pale because they didn't have enough food. How do we know they don't have enough food? Because it's a meager and rations. Meager rations of bread tells they don't have enough food to eat, and the nameless slop telling somebody just pouring carelessly in the name of soup. With dark rings under our eyes. The dark rings tells and dark ring under our eyes tell they are not happy, they are tired, they are worried, those kind of things. We huddle together nervously. So they are nervous and it is saying with a directly, like mice in a cage. So here it is a simile. The author used a simile to convey or create a image in our mind. How the uh, mice in a cage is feeling distressed. That kind of feeling these people feels. A thin layer of snow. The thin is telling it's not heavy snow, it's a thin layer of snow, but corporate telling it's a widespread snow. That Tundura, that is a place in Arctic. So a thin layer of snow corporated the Tundura already. It was only September. There would be plenty more snow to come. So they're telling us even in the September itself, it started to snow. The wind whipped at our cheeks and we shivered. So they are feeling cold too. Okay. Regarding the first paragraph, I have given my understanding. What is my understanding? The atmosphere is miserable, or I can say despair or depressing. How do I know that? The usage of the words dull, dull still, and repeated word of grey. Grey is associated with miserable, depression, sad, sorrow, those kind of thing. Whoever narrates how they feel, those we, how they feel, tired, frightened, hungry, cold. This is my understanding. How do I know that? The usage of the words meager ration of bread suggests there is not enough food. Shallow faced and darkening under the eyes telling they are tired, hungry. Weaver grey nervously tells they are frightened. Shivered tells us they are cold. Okay. The next paragraph, the soldiers were smoking by the hut, casting sideways glances at us once in a while to make sure that we weren't doing anything foolish, like trying to escape. If you see, this is a very long sentence. Telling, first part telling what is the soldiers are doing. They were smoking. Where they are smoking? By the hut. Casting sideways glances at us once in a while. Tells they are keeping an eye on them. Why they are keeping eye on them? Make sure they are not doing anything foolish like escaping. So it tells they are treating this narrating people like a prisoners. So they are keeping eye on them so that they wouldn't escape. Okay. Eventually they trample on their cigarette. So they put them down and trample on it, stand on that, and march over us wolves in military uniform. Okay. They describe the soldiers like a wolf coming to snore at lambs. Again, here, okay, this part is telling how those prisoners feeling. They are frightened. How I know? They look those soldiers as like a wolf, and they feel like a lamb. That is, the wolf is trying to hunt a lamb. Okay. The next paragraph telling that's what's to do. The officer in charge barked. Again, the word barked telling us the choice of word. The author choice of word bark tells the officer is not being nice. Clapping his gloved hands, and that shows the atmosphere is cold. Then gesturing to the crates be unloaded. Okay, so they are showing the job what they have to do. Come on, get a move on. He fired his order like cannonballs. Again here it is barked. Again here it is he fired his order like a cannonballs. That means it shows that he is angry, that he is stern, that he is very strict. The words are coming like a cannonballs means how fast and how hot it is coming, and be dispersed frantically to do as he said. The word frantically is saying how frightened they are. If they are not all unpacked by nightfall, no one eats. So again they are telling that feeling here. My understanding is the people who are narrating kept as prisoners. How do I know? The soldiers glance at once in a while, and we weren't doing, where is that one? We weren't doing anything. So you don't have to write everything. So we weren't doing anything. I put a ellipsis and put close the inverted comma. Tells us they held them, not us. They held them prisoners. Narrators are frightened. How do we know? By the description of The wolf, they are describing the soldiers as a wolf, themselves as a lamb, and disperse frantically tells us how frightened they are. And they are saying if they are not all unpacked by nightfall, if they are not doing whatever they said, that is unpacked means they talked about the crates here, isn't it? So if they are not unpacked by nightfall, by night, no one needs, they wouldn't get food. Okay, now I want you to write how the author gives effects to the reader through his choice of words, language devices, and sentence forms. If when you can, you write and post your answer in the comment box. And I also do the same once I finished. So we all compare how we did. Thanks for watching.